Why China and Russia fear America's Nimitz-class aircraft carriers. The most successful U.S. Navy carriers of the post-war era all belong to a class named in honor of World War II's most successful admiral, Chester W. Nimitz. The class's lead ship, commissioned in 1975, bears the fleet admiral's name. The Nimitz-class aircraft carriers were, at the time, the largest warships ever constructed. Although superseded by the new Ford class, the 10 Nimitz carriers will continue to form the bulk of the Navy's carrier force for the next 20 to 30 years. Many project a half a century or more. The story of the Nimitz carriers goes back to the mid-1960s. The U.S. Navy was in the process of spreading nuclear propulsion across the fleet, from submarines to cruisers, and had just commissioned the first nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, Enterprise, in 1961. As older carriers were retired, the Navy had to decide whether to switch over to nuclear power for future ships. Secretary of Defense Robert McNamara was ultimately convinced to proceed with nuclear power on the grounds that nuclear carriers had lower operating costs over their service lifetimes. He ordered the construction of 3 nuclear-powered carriers. The result was the Nimitz class. Its first ship was laid down on June 22, 1968. The ship built on the Navy's prior experience with both conventionally powered supercarriers and the Enterprise. The Nimitz retained the layout of previous carriers with an angled flight deck, island superstructure, and 4 steam-powered catapults that could launch 4 planes a minute. At 1,092 feet, she was just 24 feet longer than the older Kitty Hawk, but nearly 19,000 tons heavier. More than 5,000 personnel are assigned to Nimitz carriers at sea, with 3,000 manning the ship and another 2,000 in the air wing and other positions. Lower operating costs were not the only benefits of nuclear power. Although nuclear-powered carriers have a maximum official speed of 30-plus knots, their true speed is suspected to be considerably faster. Nimitz and her sister ships can accelerate and decelerate more quickly than a conventional ship and can cruise indefinitely. Like Enterprise, it is nuclear-powered, but also streamlined the number of reactors from 8 to 2. Its 2 Westinghouse A4W reactors can collectively generate 190 megawatts of power, enough to power 47,500 American homes. Finally, nuclear propulsion reduces a carrier battle group's need for fuel. Of course, the real strength of a carrier is in its air wing. The carrier air wings of the Cold War were larger than today. During the 1980s, a typical carrier air wing consisted of 2 squadrons of 12 F-14 Tomcat air superiority fighters, 2 squadrons of 12 FA-18 Hornet multi-role fighters, 1 squadron of 10 A-6 Intruder attack bombers, 1 squadron of 4 6E-2 Hawkeye airborne early warning and control planes, 10 S-3A Viking anti-submarine planes, 1 squadron of 4 EA-6B Prowler electronic warfare planes, and a squadron of 6 SH-3 anti-submarine helicopters. With slight variations per carrier and per cruise, the average Nimitz-class carrier of the Cold War carried between 85 and 90 aircraft.